Hello, I'm joined on the Zoom by comedian and total smasher Jen Brister. Brister, 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 Brister.
I was joining in there, which was a bit weird.
It's joyous. Is that a weird welcome? How do you like to be welcomed into a room?
I've never been welcomed like that before, but I can't say I didn't enjoy it, actually. I actually did.
Yeah.
I think there should be more chanting of my name. If it comes up and my name is shouted at like that, it's never usually in a positive way. So, oh, Brister! Something like that.
Well, for like a very fleeting 10 seconds, you were absolutely beaming then, which isn't something that people see very much, is it?
No, I'm not a beamer. Look, I don't want people to think that I never smile. I do. I'm smiling now. But, yeah, I'm not naturally bon vivant sort of person. That's not me. I'm trying to be, actually. That was what my whole last show was about, was me trying to be a bit more upbeat. I think I'm better than I used to be. Let's put it like that. That's positive, right?
That is positive, yeah. It's hard, though. We were just chatting a little bit off there about how, like, the world has constantly been on fire.
God. I mean, it's really hard to stay on top of your mental health if you, like me, are one of those people that is addicted to the news cycle, which the news cycle, as anyone knows, should be largely ignored, but I can't seem to get off that train. So I feel like it's almost like a compulsion that has turned really sour. Really sour.
Well, it's the problem with rolling news, isn't it? We've just been chatting before bobbing on to interview you. We've just talked about the Rated or Dated. We watched the film Speed. Don't know if you've watched the film Speed, Jen.
Of course I've seen it. Not recently, but certainly was a classic of its time, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Does it still stand the test of time? Listeners, there's only one way to find out. But there's a bit where there's rolling news coverage, because rolling news wasn't quite a thing in 1994, which is when Speed came out. Rolling news was starting to happen, and they get really annoyed that the helicopters from the media are chasing the bus and filming it all, because they think it's going to, give Dennis Hopper's maniacal villain, like, more credence.
Well, he's probably right.
It's true, isn't it?
How many clicks did that get? Well, I'm popular. Yeah, I mean, now, because everyone is delivering the news in their own special way, we can pick up news that isn't even news. I mean, it is news, but it's not picked up from the BBC or CNN or whatever, the Al Jazeera or the news outlets. It's just somebody who happened to be at a rally outside of Columbia University that filmed something that happened, stuck it up there, and now that's news because we've seen it. Is that a good thing? In some ways, it's an absolutely fantastic thing. Democratizing journalism. And in other ways, there's a lot of lunatics out there putting out all kinds of conspiracy theories. They're not helping. Yeah, you've got to be vigilant, haven't you? Because I think we're all capable of allowing our political bias to drag us down some kind of wormhole, which is bullshit. So we do have to, just keep an eye on ourselves as we scroll through our phones, which we're all doing all of the time.
It's addictive, the doom scroll, I think.
Well, I just think our phones are addictive. If you're not doom scrolling, you're looking at videos of people baking or cats on skateboards or whatever it is. I keep saying cats on skateboards. I've only ever seen a cat on a skateboard once, and it's really stuck with me. I don't think there's millions of these videos.
Cats on skateboards. I would absolutely watch that.
Maybe there should be. There's dogs on surfboards. I don't know if you've got that algorithm.
I've seen a dog on a skateboard, but not a dog on a surfboard.
Oh, dogs on surfboards. That's a new one. Surfing with their owners. It's like, is he enjoying it? You can't get off it, can it? It's just stuck on a surfboard.
I saw a guy do a sort of cliff jump, a hang gliding cliff jump, with his dog strapped to him. I'm like, how do you know the dog's having a nice time?
I don't know the dog gave its consent.
No?
I'm pretty sure they didn't. No. Yeah, but that's all available for your eyeballs and your earballs.
Do you know what else is available, Jen? So you're not on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but TikTok quite often makes it to Twitter. And Rishi Sunak's just done a little advert for the Conservatives ahead of the Jenny Lex that we're all very excited about.
Tell me.
It's a joke, so I'm going to describe it to you, a comedian, and you're going to give it marks out of 10.
Okay.
Rishi, I'm sure I can call him Rishi, doesn't mind, he's among other people.
The Rishmeister.
He walks into a room with a flip chart and he says, I just want to talk you through Labour's plan for government.
Oh, I can't even anticipate what this could be.
And he opens the page.
Is it blank?
It's blank. And he just kind of looks at the camera and shrugs and walks off.
How good is his timing? When does the shrug come in? Is he looking to camera? Is he pointing to the blank page? What's he doing?
His timing is as good as his prime ministerial qualities.
Yeah. So can we do, I know you said out of 10 marking it.
Uh-huh.
Can we go minus?
You can do what you like, love.
I haven't even seen it, but I'm going to give it minus 4,000 because already I'm irritated. I generally am irritated as soon as he starts talking. He could be saying something quite reasonable. I mean, that's never happened in my head. But just him talking out loud sends me into a rage. In fact, I think I feel like that about all politicians at the moment. Even when Labour start talking, I'm like, oh, shut up! Sounds like the others.
It's a weird one, isn't it? He does keep trying to be funny. It just makes me think that he doesn't have any friends or that all his advisors hate him as well.
Oh, I don't think you can advise any government that's where it is now. I don't think there's anything to do. I think it's just wait until you're completely decimated at the next election. That's all there is to do. I honestly think every time any one of their ministers open their mouths, I think, oof, I don't know if you thought that was helping, but I can tell you for me that definitely is another nail in the many coffins that you have created for your cabinet.
Yeah.
Anyway, half of them aren't even going to be working after the election. They've all said they're stepping down after the election. I mean, that's like literally feels like half of their cabinet aren't even going to. So I don't even know how that's going to work, is it?
Because they were already at the very dregs, weren't they? They're scraping the barrel for the past 14 years.
I mean, Christ, some of the people that were in cabinet, I was like, you shouldn't even be working in a front desk of a car hire. You know when you go to hire a car and you're like, are you awake? Is everything okay? Yeah, no, I don't know how that happened. But bye-bye. Going to be the long, long goodbye for them. See you later. Hopefully not for another 25 years, you bunch of useless pricks. Yeah. I was just smiling as I said that. Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I have a fact about me that I think you'll like. My blood type is B negative, which I think excuses a lot of my attitudes.
I dream of having a blood type that's B negative. I feel like it's not me. It's actually in my blood.
In me, yeah.
It's actually inside my blood. What can I do? I actually think I'm O positive, which is really
what a kicker.
What a kick in the tits. I might start telling everyone I'm B negative, although that won't go my way if I should have an accident and they try to pump B negative into me.
We would really test your commitment to the bitch.
Yes. Oh dear, never mind.
So what are you up to comedy-wise at the moment? Is there a new show in the offing?
At the moment, there's nothing in the offing. I did a corporate advert thing for Specsavers, and I had to write 25 minutes about eyesight. So I did that, and that took up a lot of my brain to write 25 minutes on getting your eyes tested. But I did do that, and that's the challenge. I quite enjoyed it, and going into clubs and new material nights to work it out, and get it up on its feet. And it reminded me, because the thing about once you finish a show is that the immediate thought is, well, I'll never write anything funny again. And I guess that's that. And I should retire and open a tea shop or something. And then when you're forced to do something, then you realise, oh, actually, yeah, I can actually do this if I'm made to. So I'm at that point now where sort of 6 months or so after my tour has ended, that I'm now thinking, okay, it's time for me to start churning up some new material. And so I think that this summer and into the autumn, that's what I'll be doing. But I won't be going on tour until next year.
Okay.
So 2020. Yeah.
Well, you're out about gigging, aren't you?
Oh, I'm gigging all the bloody time. Always gigging. I'm a gig meister. Yes, I'm still, God, I'm just rearranging my glasses. I'm still performing. You can't stop this stand-up. That's the unfortunate thing. I don't know if it's the same with acting. Maybe it is. But when you stop doing stand-up, and then it's quite hard to start again. So you just have to, even if you're not enjoying it, you've just got to keep going. Because otherwise you're not match fit, and you're not where you need to be in front of an audience. So I always will keep gigging, irrespective of touring or what have you. Or unless I got some incredible job where they went and whisked me off to Los Angeles and said, Jen, we want you to be in the new Marvel movie. You are I don't know, what would I be?
Are you hero or villain?
I'll be villain, wouldn't I? No one's going to ever recognise you. We're going to put enough prosthetics on you. You're just like a rat with wings, but you're very, very powerful. Something like that. Then I would say yes, of course.
That's what pigeons are. You'd be a pigeon.
I'd be a pigeon. Pigeon woman. There we go. Pigeon woman. Is that in Marvel? Can we make that happen?
I think it needs to.
I mean, there's not enough women, is there? There should be at least pigeon woman. She shits wherever she likes, and she's had her feet melted off. But it's not her fault. There we go. Yeah, I like to just keep working. And also, weirdly, when I'm not doing it, it sort of feels wrong. I think I'm a better person when I'm doing stand-up. I think when I don't do it for a very long time, I become insufferable and grumpy and full of tension. And then I go out and I do stand-up, and Chloe's like, my partner, she's like, oh, thank God. If I haven't done a gig for a while, she's like, can you just gift out and do a gig or something? Because you're an absolute pain in the arse. And I'm like, can't believe you said that. And then I'll go out and do a gig and go, oh, I actually did a lot better. She's right. I am insufferable.
You have been keeping yourself very busy, though, and you have co-founded a charity. Can you tell us about All Our Relations?
Well, we're in the process of trying to set it up as a charity. I mean, I don't know anyone who's set up a charity will know it's absolutely fucking horrendous. So at the moment, because it's taking, all of those things are taking so long, we're sort of functioning as a non-profit. Let's do this in bullet points. The war in Gaza happened. I was deeply affected by it. I couldn't sleep. I was delving into sort of social media posts going, ceasefire this, ceasefire that. People were very angry. I was getting a lot of, abuse. It was very, very weird. I do understand it to a point, obviously, because of what happened on October 7th, which was so utterly horrific. For then me, like 2 or 3 weeks later, to be calling for a ceasefire. So many Israelis just seemed completely batshit. But I could immediately see where this was going and how it was going to go, and it very much has. So I just became aware that as the weeks and the months progressed, Palestinian families were creating these GoFundMe pages to try to create some agency for themselves because so little aid was getting in. There were so few charities and NGOs on the ground, and those that were on the ground were utterly stretched and unable to help individual families, that they were fundraising for themselves. And so I amplified the voice of a couple of families, and then that was I shot a flare into Gaza and said, I'll help you. And then everybody, it was like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people contacting me, and I was overwhelmed. And I thought, well, I'm not really helping anyone here. I'm not doing anything. And I could see that I had been doing a bit of liaising with a project called Project Watermelon, and most of whom are based in the States, and who are doing incredible work evacuating, and had been doing for months, evacuating families and assisting people on the ground in Gaza. And I was like, wow, that seems like a really great thing to do. There didn't appear to be anything of the British equivalent. And I noticed that there was a few women out there that were doing similar things. And I contacted one of them. Her name's Georgia Takacs, and she was on her own, had given up her job, and was just basically full-time advocating for 3 families in Gaza. And I said, I'd love to help you. How can I help you? And she was like, I like literally anything, because I'm drowning here. And so my intention at the time was, look, I'll fundraise, I'll get you some money, and then you can support these families better. And then we were talking, and then we ended up setting up a group on Signal, and we started to chat. And I realized that I needed to do a bit more. So we set up this idea for a charity to fundraise and advocate for 10 families in Gaza, to evacuate them and to look after them while they're in Gaza. And that's what we're doing at the moment. So we're not pretending that we're going to change the world. But what we are trying to do is, there are so many cracks that people are slipping through, that we are trying to just cement one of those cracks to help 10 families. That's all we're trying to do. I mean, you wouldn't believe how much money it takes to support 10 families.
I was going to ask you about that, because it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. Certainly at the moment, with the border not being, as we speak, as we're talking, this is being recorded, the border at Rafah has still not been opened. So all we're doing at the moment is putting money into people's hands so that they can, buy a gas canister, buy food. All food is sold on the black market at incredibly inflated prices, because so little aid has gotten in, that just to survive, just to live, is incredibly difficult, let alone what's happening in northern Gaza, where no aid is getting in and people are dying from starvation. So that's the idea. So All Our Relations was created to amplify the voices of these 10 families, but also to signpost people on Instagram that these families exist, that there are other families out there that other people can advocate for, or they can donate to us, and we will continue to work with these families and help and support them to try to evacuate them, because it's incredibly expensive to evacuate people. Again, prices have been inflated by this travel company called Yahala in Egypt, to a visa prior to October 7th was $350 to go to Egypt. It's now $5,000, $7,500 if you want that to be, instead of being 6 weeks, 2 weeks, which most people do, because no one wants to wait 6 weeks. It's a horrendous, horrendous nightmare, let alone the living conditions and the trauma and the PTSD and the sickness and all of that. You know, you've got people who are diabetic who can't get hold of insulin. You've got people who are having cancer treatment and now are not receiving cancer treatment because there are no hospitals, they've all been bombed. You know, all of these things that are happening in Gaza are beyond most of our comprehension. And if you think you know what's happening in Gaza, I can tell you absolutely do not, because the amount of coverage that the main media outlets is offering is less than 1% of what is going on. That's what we're doing. And on my Instagram page, you will find a link. If you go in, you'll have to click onto it, because I've got a number of different links.
Like a link tree.
Yeah, I need to set up a link tree. I still don't know what that is, but yes, I'll do a link tree. But you'll find it, and it says help a family in Gaza. And if you click on that, you can donate to All Our Relations. And honestly, we are being very impactful. We are helping people. And we're hoping that once the border in Rafah is open, that we'll be able to evacuate. We certainly won't be able to evacuate anyone. We won't have nearly enough money, but we'll be able to evacuate some of the families and support them in Egypt for a while. You know, I've started something that it turns out doesn't have an end point. So that's a bit overwhelming.
One of my favourite ways people can help to raise money for All Our Relations is they can pay you to record a message on Cameo.
Oh my God. I mean, isn't that hilarious? Look, I've done about, I don't know how many of these I've done. I think I've done about 15 cameos now. And the first one, I want to apologise to the person that got the first cameo because it was an absolute shambles. But I think I know what I'm doing now. And if people want a cameo, I'm still on there. I'm charging, I think, 20, 25 quid. All the money goes to All Our Relations. And I will say whatever you want me to say to whoever you want me to say it to, and all the money will go to charity. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
What a thing.